For sure that Season 8 has already been written and passed on to producers. What we do not know is if these leaked scripts are true or not. I will point out any potential sentence that might seem to be out of the order, as I did in my previous video regarding the leaks for the season premiere. Anyways, if you don't want anything to be potentially spoiled, it's time for you to close this video. They're stated that the first scene will take place in the Great Hall of Winterfell. Jon, Daenerys, Tyrion, Davos and Sansa are present here. Gendry and Tormund tell the rest that Wall has fallen and the Night Watch has been destroyed. Tormund also mentions that the Night King rides the undead dragon. Bran Stark confirms these statements and tells that the Night King is on his way to Winterfell. In case you don't remember, through his flock of ravens at Eastwatch, Bran also watched the Night King knock down a portion of the wall. Jon Snow tells the rest that they have no time to lose and asks Maester Vulcan to inform all of their banners, everyone in the north, to prepare themselves for a war against the army of the dead. They need to prepare for an attack at the battlefield of Winterfell. After having to process a lot of new information that Bran revealed to him in the season premiere and struggling with his identity, Jon Snow goes to the crypts to visit his mother, Lyanna, and his uncle, Ned Stark. Daenerys notices that there's something wrong with Jon and finds him in the crypts. She asks Jon what's wrong with him. Jon tells her that his name is not even Jon Snow. He calls Jon Snow a lie people have made him believe all his life. Daenerys is confused and asks Jon for clarification, but Jon walks away from her. Daenerys notices that Jon behaves aloof towards her. Daenerys walks out of the crypts, which Jorah notices. He asks her what happened out there in the crypts and Daenerys answers that she doesn't know what's up with Jon. She tells Jorah that Jon is hiding something from her. Jorah also tells Daenerys that it struck him that Daenerys has been so absent for days. She answers that she's not feeling very well lately. Jorah proposes to have her examined by Maester Vulcan. Then the scene switches to King's Landing. Qyburn enters Cersei's chambers. He mentions that she has not spoken about her miscarriage and that she needs to take enough time to rest. Cersei answers that there's no time for that and doesn't want to say more about the miscarriage. Qyburn leaves her chamber. Cersei watches from her window, witnessing how the snow falls in the King's Landing. Cersei's miscarriage was expected to take place in the season 7 finale, but it seems it will apparently take place off screen. The next shot is showing Jaime riding his horse in snowy conditions. He and Bran, who reunited in the first episode, arrive in Riverrun. Both discover that the Tullys are laying siege to Riverrun. Jaime enters the stage and meets up with Edmure. Edmure tells Jaime he should have him in chains, but Jaime responds that he did not come to argue about the castle. He proposes Edmure to help his nieces and nephews in the Great War against the Night King. Jaime also promises to give Riverrun back to the Tullys, since it does not matter any longer who's holding the castle at this point. Edmure tends to agree, not for Jaime, but for his family. Then we are going back to Winterfell. Most of House Stark's bannermen and Daenerys' armies have now arrived in Winterfell. Among them is Howland Reed. He arrived with his army and Mia Reed by his side. Let me just say that we've all been waiting for quite some time for Howland to finally appear in the current timeline. Beside Bran, he's the only person that witnessed Jon's birth and therefore he still has a big role to play. In one of my videos published a few months ago, I predicted that we would most likely learn that Jon Snow is in effect legitimate son of Rhaegar Targaryen and Lyanna Stark, which we did in Bran's flashback. Jon Snow, on the other hand, would learn the truth in the final season, and even though he might not entirely believe in Bran's words, Howland Reed would then appear, and not only that he would confirm it, but there's also a possibility that he would prove it with some object related to his true parentage. Even George R. R. Martin stated that Howland Reed will eventually appear. Anyways, Arya then receives a visitor in Winterfell. He seems to be an ordinary bannerman from House Sermon, but he quickly removes his face, revealing that he is actually Arya's old friend Jaqen H'ghar. Arya is surprised to have Jaqen visit her. He then tells Arya that the many-faced god requires another death, a name to be crossed off her list. He reveals it to be the Queen of the Seven Kingdoms, Cersei Lannister. Jaqen says, "A price was paid. What better servant of the many-faced god than Arya Stark of Winterfell to kill Cersei Lannister?" He then gives a vial of poison to Arya and leaves her. Jon Snow seizes the moment to talk with Howland Reed alone. He asks Howland to confirm Bran's statement regarding his true lineage, but Howland does not acknowledge this at all. Jon pleads him to tell the truth. Since Robert Baratheon is not alive anymore, there is no point of lying anymore. Additionally, House Targaryen is currently the most powerful house in all of the Seven Kingdoms. There is no danger for him if he truly is a Targaryen. Howland ultimately confirms that Ned was carrying Lyanna's child when he came out of the Tower of Joy. He promised to his best friend to keep this a secret. Jon thanks him for telling the truth, even though that might not be what he wanted to hear. Knowing that the army of the undead will be upon them very soon, Jon and Hand of Daenerys, Tyrion with all their advisors, allies and important people discuss together how they will defend the north. Allegedly, the seat of House Umber, the Last Hearth, has already been attacked by the army of the dead. Ned Umber did not make it out alive. As the furthest northern settlement in the north, it makes sense that the Last Hearth will, as Jon Snow remarked, likely be the first obstacle in the path of the army of the dead, having penetrated the wall. Anyways, Tyrion speaks for Daenerys, who's absent due to illness. He comes forward with a plan to defend the north. He proposes that Tormund do the track in the Unsullied attack with Dragonglass from the Dreadfort, since that's where the Night King is heading to first. On their way to Winterfell, the dragons will set the army of the dead afire, and House Stark's Bannermen and the Knights of the Vale will fight weakened forces at the battlefield of Winterfell and hopefully destroy the Night King as well. Jon wants Brienne and Podrick to take Sansa, Arya and Bran with them and to leave with Robin Arryn to the Vale, since there is no longer safe to be in Winterfell. Arya doesn't want to and claims that she's stronger and more skilled than most men. Jorah on the other hand wants to fight alongside House Mormont, but Lyanna reminds him that he has betrayed his own house. Varys mentions that he has also received word from King's Landing. Supposedly, Queen Cersei has bought a great army of sellswords, and Euron Greyjoy has taken Storm's End to install the army there. Theon pleads to have Storm's End attacked, and Gendry agrees, since it's the seat of his father's house. Jon promises Theon that he will help to destroy Euron and save his sister after they deal with the Night King and his army. In one of my previous videos regarding the leaks for the Season 8 premiere, I explained how Theon might have ended up at Winterfell, so I'm not going to talk about it in this one. Missandei visits Daenerys in her chambers. Dany tells her that Maester Vulcan examined her and reveals that he confirmed her pregnancy. Missandei asks why she's not happy then. Daenerys replies that Jon has changed towards her, which she doesn't understand why. The Free Folk do the Dothraki the Unsullied prepare to leave Winterfell. Jon asks Daenerys why she did not attend this important gathering, but Daenerys does not reply to that. Meera goes to say goodbye to Bran in the Godswood of Winterfell when Bran starts to behave very strangely. Bran reveals to her that there will not be need for any army to leave Winterfell, since the Night King's army already arrived over here, and commands her to quickly inform and warn the others. Jon is on his way to say farewell to his siblings when Meera runs to him and reveals what Bran has told her. A huge winter storm starts to come close to Winterfell. Chaos erupts. The whole living north and Daenerys' armies gather outside to face the Night King's army. Jon orders Sansa, Arya and Daenerys to stay inside Winterfell and promises them that Winterfell will not fall. Varys, Tyrion, Robin, Bran, Samwell, Gilly, Lyanna and Missandei also remain inside Winterfell. Arya at first doesn't want to, but obeys Jon's order. Sansa asks Meera to get Bran inside as soon as possible. A huge horde of whites invade the battlefield of Winterfell. The Dothraki face the army of the dead first, and many of them are taken out quite easily. Ghost fights with Jon and saves him at one point from a White Walker trying to kill him. Ghost is killed off while saving Jon. Inside Winterfell, Daenerys is frustrated that she is not able to help and considers if she should fly a Drogon to destroy the undead. Missandei answers that it's not wise to join the fight while she's pregnant. Sam on the other hand tries to comfort Gilly and Lil Sam. Just when it seems the living side might lose this battle, Drogon comes out of nowhere and burns quite a lot of whites, including an undead giant, but also kills some of the northern soldiers in the process. The White Walkers bringing even more whites also enter the stage with the Night King flying undead Viserion above them. Viserion starts to burn the living side. Lord Glower, Howland Reed and Tormund are burnt alive by Viserion's blue fire. Meera wants Bran to leave the Godswood, but he tells her that he has to help Jon. Bran is trying to take control over Rhaegal using his mind. Meera warns Bran that's too dangerous and that he should stay inside. Jon's and Daenerys' armies start diminishing greatly since the army of the dead just keeps coming. The White Walkers try to invade Winterfell. Grey Worm faces two White Walkers and is able to take out one of them with his spear made from dragonglass, but the other one kills him. The White Walkers supposedly try to invade Winterfell to take down Bran. Brienne guards the castle together with Podrick, Jorah and Gendry. Podrick is killed off by a group of whites, which makes Brienne sad and angry at the same time. Brienne takes out one of the White Walkers with Oathkeeper. Meera is urging Bran to give up and get inside, but Bran doesn't want to. He wants Meera to leave instead and get safe inside the castle. Meera answers that she will stay together with him until the end. Jaime Lannister and Edmure Tully with their forces come to the North's aid right in time. Bran is managing to work into Rhaegal's mind and the dragon starts to fight undead Viserion, trying to bite him right in the neck but gets gravely injured during the fight as well. Rhaegal starts to breathe out fire on Viserion, which seems to make the Night King start leaving the battlefield on injured Viserion's back. Meera realizes that this is the end for them. The White Walkers are coming for Bran and she gets killed off by the White Walkers while defending Bran's body. Viserion and Rhaegal keep fighting each other and both start to be seriously injured. It also seems like Dragonfire can harm the Night King. The White Walkers stab Bran to death, which makes Rhaegal fall to the ground and to be finished by the Whites. The Night King's army is starting to diminish. We see Jaime commanding his men and fighting the remaining undead alongside Bronn. Jon fights alongside the Hound and Davos. When Jon starts to notice that the Night King's army is retreating, he commands everyone to leave the battlefield. Jon then goes with Davos and the Hound to get everyone safely outside. The Knights of the Vale, Sansa, Brienne and Robin live together to the Eyrie. Arya, the Hound, Jaime, Bronn and Edmure with the Tully and the Lannister forces retreat to Riverrun. Jon, Davos, Daenerys, Tyrion, Varys, Missandei, Jorah, Samwell, Gilly, Lil Sam, Theon the remaining Unsullied and the Dothraki forces travel south. Lyanna Mormont and her men retreat to Bear Island. In the last shot, we see Jon and Daenerys on Drogon's back setting all the dead afire, including dead Rhaegal, preventing them from becoming whites. Both sides suffered great losses in this fight. There you have it, guys, leaked script for the second episode of the final season.